Hi, my name is Scott Baird. I'll be providing a short tutorial on conditional assembly. Conditional assembly is when different pieces are assembled based on the base entity that's flowing through the system. To use an example, if we were dealing with computers that had Intel or AMD based motherboards, then we would need to put different motherboards in each of the type of computers that went through. So if it's an Intel computer, we'd want an Intel motherboard or an Intel based motherboard to go in. If it was an AMD, we'd want an AMD based motherboard with an AMD CPU to go through. So we're going to show you how to do that quickly. The first step in doing this is just to set up the assembly so that things will flow the way that they're supposed to. So I'd make certain that I had my attach routes in the proper place. In this case, we put an attach route in for AMD motherboards, another attach route in for Intel based motherboards. And right now the way it's set up is anything that goes through will get both. And of course we don't want that to happen. If it's Intel, we only want the Intel. If it's AMD, we only want the AMD. So the second thing to do is to create attributes for each entity that will be assembled. To do that, go to the Insert menu, Attributes and Variables, go to the Entity Attributes tab, and hit the New button. We're going to put one in for AMD. We'll set its type to be an integer because we'll be assembling whole quantities. And we'll put in a second one for Intel. When those are done, go ahead and close out of that menu. The third step is to set the attributes on the base entity. We're going to tell it whether or not it assembles an Intel or an AMD. So if you double click on the arrival, I'm going to be doing this first for the Intel computer going through. Instead of trying to remember what the names were for those attributes that you're trying to apply here, just right mouse click, hit the keywords menu, and select AMD. Since this is the Intel computer, we'll set AMD equals 0. And set Intel equal to 1. Now we're going to do the same thing down below. We're going to highlight the items that are here, copy those, put them on the AMD based computer, and I'm going to switch those around. So AMD will assemble 1 and Intel will assemble 0. Step number 4, on the attach routes, change the quantity field to the name of the attribute that represents the entity to be assembled. Double click on the attach route. This is for the AMD. Instead of having a quantity of 1 in there, I right mouse click, keywords, and I'm going to set that to AMD. On the Intel board, highlight what's in the quantity field, right mouse click, keywords, set that to Intel. Instead of seeing the name in there, what it's going to see is the value that's in the attribute. So if it's a Intel computer that's coming down the line, or an Intel required computer, what it'll do is see a value of 1 in this field, and it'll see a value of 0 in the AMD field. If it's an AMD computer that's coming down, it'll see a 1 in the AMD field and a 0 in the Intel field. Let's go ahead and try that and see how it works. Alright, if you watch these coming in, if it's a blue computer, it gets an Intel board. And if it's a green computer, it gets an AMD board. And that's the procedure for doing conditional attaches or conditional assembly. And that's our tutorial on conditional assembly. Thanks for joining us.